Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Idaho Vandals with head coach Paul Petrino. I'm Dennis Patchin. Thanks for being with us today. The border battle between Washington State and Idaho. Let's talk a little bit about that game. I thought there were some good moments for your football team. I thought your defense played hard. Your offense moved the football. You kind of just had a lot of mistakes that kind of hurt you.
Yeah, we really just we didn't give ourselves a chance to be in the game. You know, defense had some nice turnovers, did some good things early, stopped them, kind of like our first three drives. First drive we get to a 4th and 5, fake a punt, would have been a huge play, and we have a guy move off sides. The second drive we get a couple nice plays, and we throw an interception. And then the third drive we actually move the ball all the way to about the 50, have a 3rd and 2, and you know, it's there, and we just don't execute it. You know, a guy made a mistake, and so you know, those first three drives, if you do something and get some points on the board, it gives you more momentum and gives you a chance to be in the game.
Your snapper had to love the fake punt. I mean, you move everybody the way. I mean, centers never get to touch the football in that.
He was all excited about it all week long, and then when you play at night, you're sitting in the hotel during the day in between your meetings, and Arkansas runs the same fake punt. So then he was all scared. Oh, now is it going to work? Is it going to work? And I said, oh, we're going to call it. We'll find out. And, you know, it would have worked. It was a good throw by Austin. It was a good catch. And it was just unfortunate that somebody moved.
When you're trying to get a football team better physically, it's more time in the weight room, more training, those kind of things. When you're trying to get a football team mentally better, and those were mental mistakes in that football game, how do you correct those problems?
You know, it's just more preparation. You just got to do a better job of making sure you pay attention to practice, you execute practice, and then you got to do a great job in the walkthroughs, and you got to spend some time on your own, you know, away from the building. You got to put in, you know, the great Division I programs. The players put a lot of time in on their own away from it, and you can't just go the hours that you're here. You know, they only give us 20 hours a week, and that's not enough to have great execution. They got to put in a lot of hours on their own, and it's just part of the process. You know, to build a program and get better, you got to have a lot of private victories first before there ends up being public victories. And each week in practice, we see a lot of the private victories, and not everybody gets to see that yet, but eventually we'll have enough private victories that the practice will equal public victories out in the, you know, and everybody will get to see it.
Taking a program from where it was to where you want it to be is kind of a winding road, and sometimes there's going to be bumps in the road, and sometimes there's going to be, you know, cliffs where you got to stop and figure out another way to get around it. Are you happy with the progress that guys are showing? Because we don't see practice. You see practice every day in the 4 weeks of games heading into the Temple game this week.
You know, I think that we really were improving. I thought the offense took a little step back against Washington State, and although they have a really good defense, you know, their defensive line, I think they're number 1 in the country. So that was a little disappointing, but I do think overall as a whole team we've improved each week. You know, I think you know, last night is Sunday night's always our young guys scrimmage, and it was probably our best young guys scrimmage we've had. You know, Matt Lenahan had a great night, threw the ball all over the place, made all kinds of plays. And so you still see things each day in practice where it excites you, where you see the light, you know, where you know things are going to happen and things are going to be real bright in the future. And, you know, you just got to make sure you keep telling yourself that and you keep seeing it, and the players got to keep seeing it. You just got to come to work every day and keep improving.
We talked about that last week, the coaching staff. Hey, this is good, we're making progress here. Do you have to share that with the players, even though you can't be happy with a loss? Yeah, you have to show them both the good, and then we have to make sure we get the bad corrected. And, you know, hustle errors you can take. The stuff that's unacceptable is if they don't give maximum effort, you know, and then you don't want to have pre-snap penalties. That's ridiculous. You know, if you get a penalty because you're hustling or you're just going 100, you know, you're playing as hard as you can and you miss your block or you miss the tackle, you know, sometimes that's acceptable. But if it's a pre-snap penalty or if it's a not effort, then that's the stuff that we can't accept. As Paul has said, he is playing some young players throughout the season, and 2 of those are from just up the road in Coeur d'Alene, a quarterback Chad Chalich and a receiver Dion Watson, who have been throwing the ball around and hanging out for a long time. Alyssa Charleston has more on their story.
4 years is all most quarterbacks get to bond with their wide receivers. But for Idaho's redshirt freshmen Chad Chalich and Dion Watson, well, they've had about 13. The quarterback-receiver duo grew up in Coeur d'Alene, where Chalich says the friendship started at a young age.
We've gone to school since the 1st grade together, so we've always played out on recess, just playing out, just throwing the ball out at recess, so we go way back.
A little bit more practice together and back-to-back 5A high school state titles later, the boys found themselves accepting scholarships to play football at the same university. Watson says working with Chalich has never been too difficult.
He's the type of guy that you can get along with easy. He gets along with everyone, and he's got my back and I got his. So, I mean, the chemistry is definitely there, and that's an upper hand.
Chalich says that chemistry has been key in their transition from high school football to college football.
He's a guy that I look to, you know. I can make my reads and know where he's going to go, so I can make my throw before he's breaking on the ball. So, you know, that's huge, especially the college level where the guys are much faster in high school level.
After redshirting their first year, both Chalich and Watson are relied on to be impact players this year for the Vandals. Watson says they manage that pressure by working together off the field.
Watching film with him is really great. I pick up some things that I wouldn't in the wide receiver room, and he picks up some things that he wouldn't learn in the QB room. So it's really good to get that other perspective.
Although they're a little short in experience, Chalich believes having confidence is vital.
We can't act like freshmen. We got to act like leaders of this team because we are leaders. So, you know, we're just coming out here leading this team, and, you know, we got to get this offense going and score points, and that's what we're going to do because we can make those plays.
If their high school track record serves as any proof, the future sure looks bright for these two. For Inside the Vandals, I'm Melissa Charleston.
When kids have been around together so much, I mean, you could almost say they're almost like brothers. They've been around so much. Is there an unsaid bond now as a quarterback and as a receiver that, you know, since they've been hanging out, playing together since they were in the 4th grade?
I think so. I think what there really is a lot of trust. You know, I think when you've been together for so long and you've played together for so long, you trust each other. And, you know, it's no different than a point guard and a center or forward playing together. You know where they're going to be, you trust them to be in the right spot, and you trust them to make the play for you. And, you know, and on the other end, you trust them to feed you the ball and get it to you at the right timing, at the right moment. So I think anytime you play together that long, you really trust each other.
What do you like about Chad as a quarterback?
You know, it's his toughness. I think he's competing. I think he comes out there and competes every game. You know, it's kind of hard sometimes as a freshman to be out there and the other guys around you not necessarily playing as well as they can. But he comes to work every day, he works hard every day. It's a learning process. The game's a lot faster. He gets hit a lot harder. You know, I was telling him the other day, we had a long meeting yesterday by ourselves, and I said, you know, in high school you might have got hit hard, you know, once a game, if even that. You know, and in college you get hit hard every time you get hit, you know, so that's a different process, but you still got to run and not be expecting the hit. The secondary plays faster. And then just, you know, just the more you play and the more you're ready to go, the better execution he'll have in the crucial situations on some of those third downs and things. But, you know, he's competing, he's giving it everything he has, and I'm proud of him.
What do you like about Dion as a receiver?
Probably the same thing to begin with, his toughness. You know, he's competitive. He does a good job blocking for us. He'll go fight for the ball. He's got really good hands. And Dion's going to just get better and better every year. There's no question about that. The more he spends time in the weight room, you know, gets more flexible, gets stronger. That's going to increase his speed. And he's very dependable, has good hands, and he's just going to get, his ceiling is very high. He's going to get better every week.
That duo will be on display this week here in the Dome. It's homecoming, and we'll take a look at the Temple Owls that'll be rolling into town when Inside the Idaho Vandals continue.